guys, it's Tina and welcome to week 3 of the February meal prep series. I will be making some pork shoulder roast, and my husband also requested that I make more spinach, so I will be making a variation on last week's spinach by adding some sauteed mushrooms. So let's begin. First up is the pork shoulder. So if you don't eat pork, you can always substitute this with beef. I get my pork from my local supermarket and then I ask the butcher to trim off all the fat, and they would do this at no extra cost to you, so definitely take advantage of that. So the first thing that we're going to do is bring that pork to room temperature by letting it sit out at least an hour. This way when we cook it, it is not tough. We're going to take a knife or a fork and just stab the pork. This is the only time that you're really going to get a chance to season that pork. So you want to go ahead with a very generous sprinkle of salt and pepper. Then we're going to sprinkle over some white flour. Make sure all the sides are well coated with the flour. We're going to brown our pork, so bring the pork and add it to a very hot and sizzling pan with some oil in it. Brown each side of the pork at least 5 to 7 minutes on each side until you get that nice golden brown color. Once all the sides are brown, then remove the pork from the pan. Now you might have a ton of oil sitting in the pan. You just want to go ahead and remove that excess oil. I have already gone ahead and chopped my carrots, my celery, onions, and some scallions. As you can see, I chopped all these vegetables at different sizes because I want to retain that texture within my sauce. Add your mixed vegetables to the pan. Scrape the pan, especially the bottom, to remove the bits of pork at the bottom. This is going to add a lot of flavor to your sauce. Stir about 7 minutes or so, just till the onions start getting nice and soft. Season with some salt and pepper. I always like to season every layer of my dish, that way it just tastes amazing. Now return the pork to the pan. We're going to add a can of diced tomatoes, 1.5 to 2 cups of either vegetable or beef stock, a couple of sprigs of rosemary, and about 3 to 4 sprigs of thyme. If you don't have fresh rosemary or thyme, you can always use dry. However, I just think the fresh herbs adds a lot more flavor to this dish. Add about 1 teaspoon of ground ginger and mix it all up. At this point, you have 3 options. You can either transfer everything into a crock pot and cook on high for about 4 to 6 hours depending on your crock pot. You can also leave this as is on the stove and cook on low for about 3 hours. However, I'm going to show you my preferred way of cooking this pot roast. I am going to transfer the pot as it is into the oven. Now my pot is oven safe, so if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you're using an oven safe pot. I am going to transfer the pork into a preheated oven at 350 degrees. I'm going to have it cook for 2 hours, going halfway through, so at the 1 hour mark, to flip the pork and make sure it is cooking evenly all around. After the 2 hours are done, remove the pot from the oven and bring it back to the stove top. Now we're going to cook for an additional 30 minutes uncovered on low. You're going to start noticing the sauce thicken and become really nice and glossy, which is why I absolutely love making my pork shoulder in this way. You can see how tender the pork is as I slice through. I can honestly just use my fingers to pull it apart. It's simply just falling off and just very, very tender, which to me is simple perfection. Next up are our potatoes. I have already quartered my potatoes and now I'm going to add my chopped carrots. Also add the leaves from about 2 sprigs of thyme. Then salt and pepper. A little drizzle of honey and balsamic vinegar will help bring out the sweetness in your carrots. But of course you can always skip this step. Drizzle over a little bit of olive oil. Mix everything together and your potatoes are ready to go in a preheated oven at 425 degrees for at least 50 minutes. Next up is the fried barley. My husband and I have been eating quinoa for a very long time now. However, we are looking for other ways to incorporate grains into our diet. We also try to control how much rice we eat, so today I'm going to be trying barley. Now I'm making a fried rice, except I'm using barley. And anytime that you're making fried rice, it's just better to use old rice. So I went ahead and made my barley yesterday just using the instructions on the package. My barley has been in the fridge, and so now it's cold and perfect to make this fried barley. So to begin, in a hot wok, we're going to add our vegetable oil. Then add in the mixed frozen vegetables and stir. At this point, you can add your cold barley and mix it all together for the barley to start warming up. Once the barley is warm, then drizzle in your soy sauce. Now, because soy sauce already has some salt in it, you want to taste for salt before adding any salt. I'm going to go ahead and add in some black pepper. Continue stirring about 3 minutes or so, and then push the barley off to one side. In the other side, drop in 2 beaten eggs and start scrambling. Once the eggs are scrambled, mix it all in with the barley to make sure everything is nicely incorporated, and that's it. Mix and cook for another 3 to 5 minutes, and then finish with a topping of scallions. And now for the spinach. Drizzle in some olive oil into a skillet. Then add your minced garlic and just stir until the garlic becomes fragrant. Toss in your chopped mushrooms and stir for about 7 minutes to just get those mushrooms nice and soft. You might consider seasoning with a little bit of salt on the mushrooms just for flavor. Then add your spinach. Now spinach shrinks a lot. I use about 3 bundles of spinach to get enough for the entire week for my husband and I. If you're using that much spinach, you might have to add the spinach in batches. So I put in the first batch and then cover so the spinach can start shrinking. Then take the lid off and stir and flip the spinach, and then add the remainder of your spinach. Cover again so that spinach can shrink, but I made the mistake of turning my heat down, and so the spinach started releasing a lot of its liquid. You don't want this. So to avoid this, simply cook your spinach on medium-high to high heat. I just went ahead and drained out some of the water. You really just want to saute your spinach for about 3 minutes, and that should be good. Season with salt and pepper to taste, and your spinach is ready. And so your meal prep is complete, and comes my favorite part, putting those dishes in their respective containers. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to thank you so much for all the comments and feedback that you have been giving me on the previous videos. If you missed those videos, then please check those links. I will leave them in the description box. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, MissT1806, where I share weekly meal preps of what I am going to be eating for the upcoming week. Also, if you're on Instagram and you meal prep, then please use the hashtag MealPrepWithTina. That way I can see what fabulous things you guys are making in your kitchens, but you can also continue this conversation and inspire other people looking for meal prep ideas. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week, which is going to be our final video in this series. And from my kitchen to yours, bon appetit guys. Bye! Want more meal prep? Then click the video for my meal prep playlist. Thank you guys. Subscribe and share. Bye.